Let me first of all explain this thing for you. Now, when you are on a network, you need to have visibility to some things on your network. So let's assume I have let's assume I have a router like this, and I have a switch or some switches on my network. This is a switch. And then I am here sitting down here. This is me here sitting down on this system. So it could be maybe multiple switches on the network. Let me add more switches on different segments on my network. So I need visibility. Now, one of the things that can give me visibility on the network to what is going on my router or my switches is this protocol we want to talk about, SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol. Somebody call it Oxygen, because with this you can see what is going on your router or your switches. Now, when I say you can see what is going on, what are the things that I'm talking about? For instance, you can see the CPU usage of your router. You can see the RAM usage of your router. You can see the interfaces usage. Maybe each of the interfaces, or maybe people that are connected to the different ports on the switches. You want to see what the kind of bandwidth they are consuming. You can see all of these details. Now, what will you do with all of this? Let's assume you are connected to a service provider and you have paid for 10 meg and you are not getting up to 10 meg from you can use Simple Network Management Protocol to know what they are pushing into for you. So that is the beauty of these particular protocols. Now, what we really need to do is to discuss the theoretical part of this protocol, how it operates, but the practical part is not done in CCNA, as in it is not taken care of in CCNA class, even though it's very simple. So all I just need to do is to install a software on this my computer, and the most popular out there is PRTG. So if I install PRTG software on this my particular computer, it becomes a server, and that is what we call SNMP server. It becomes a server. My switches and my routers on the network, I will configure them to be able to see this particular computer, to recognize that this my computer is the SNMP server. It therefore means all other devices on my network, all the devices on my network, they are SNMP clients. So what's going to be happening is they will be giving my device, this is my computer here, they will be giving information about their status, CPU status, RAM status, interface status, and all of that in forms of graph. So with that, from this system where I am seated, I can see the usage of my router, CPU usage, RAM usage of all the switches on the network, the bandwidth that each of the users are consuming on each of the interfaces of the switch, or the switches on the network, and so on and so forth. So that's just a summary of what SNMP is used for. So it gives you visibility to see the traffic usage in forms of graphs on your network when you activate this on the network. That's just the summary. So some people don't know the summary. They just know how to do this thing practically. They install the software, configure their router to see this particular machine, and then from this, when you launch the software, once the computer can see the router, and you launch the software, it begins to download information to you about what is going on in the router. So that's just a summary of what we want to discuss in this aspect. So let's go. So I'll talk about some summary. Theory.
Hello, sir.
Yes, but yes, doctor.
Please, I want to find out. Is this synonymous to this a trail white shark?
This is different from wire sharks. Yeah,
Okay.
it is different from wire sharks. Wire sharks also is part of what we use on the network, and it is more of uh, you can do more. What do you call it now? There's a word I'm looking for. You can dig further to see the index of packet with wire sharks.
Like okay.
Yeah,
The analyzer, sir.
yeah. But Wireshark is just an analyzer, and it's used mainly by cyber security experts. But this one
Oh,
majorly helps you to know the health status of your devices and how the kind of traffic that is flowing through your devices. And that is why we're also supposed to talk about net flow. And why is it important for you to have all of this visibility? Let's say, for instance, now they call you that the network is slow. You need to know why the network is slow. Maybe somebody is overusing the bandwidth on the network. Who is the highest user of bandwidth on your network? Or maybe the service provider is not pumping enough of bandwidth that you are paying for. Or maybe the router is under attack. The CPU usage has gone to 100% or 80%. The RAM is almost completely used up. So these are some of the things that will give you visibility, because you know the threshold. There's called something called baseline. Analysis. You must have the baseline analysis of all the devices on your network, even during your peak time. Maybe, for instance, you know that your CPU does not go beyond 40%, even when you peak during your peak time, and maybe the RAM 60%. If for any reason you are now seeing 80%, 90%, 100%, something probably is wrong on the network. And this particular software will give you visibility to all your devices, and you'll be able to check their health status, CPU usage, RAM usage, uh, port usage, among other things that you can check from there. I hope it's clear. So if we want to use Wireshark, that is a different thing entirely. So we can, if we want to now probe somebody further, we can use Wireshark to now begin to capture that person's packet and do kind of deep packet inspection to see where you are going to and all of that, and what you are doing on the network. I don't know if it's clear to you, sir. Doctor? Hello, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Any other question before I move on? So this is a summary of SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol. These are things that you need for you to be able to manage your network.
The
SNMP.
question I have,
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
hello, sir.
You have the floor, sir.
What's the name of that software you mentioned for to help us to see more visibility of the network usage and behavior and everything?
Shark.
Nope. PRTG. I say it's one. I say it's one
P
of.
what, sir?
See it here. See it here. PRTG.
PLT.
You can go to their website, and it's one of. There are others. There is SolarWinds.
Okay, PLT. Just a
There's
second.
SolarWinds. There's PRTG. There are others out there, but PRTG is popular. Is it taking, sir? Can we move on?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, sir. Okay, so let's run through the theoretical part and see what we got here. What is happening again? Okay. So right now, let's go through the theoretical part and see. So what is SNMP? It was developed to allow administrators to manage nodes. Nodes are computers or devices on an IP network. It enables administrators to monitor and manage network performance, find and solve network problems, and plan for network growth. Take, for instance, now, if the numbers of users on the network is becoming crazy, the network is just growing, or let me say the users on the network are not that growing, but they are becoming heavy user. They are overusing or let me say using the bandwidth to maximum. From PRTG, you can do your analysis and know that what your management or what the institution is paying for is not enough. Take, for instance, if they are paying an institution is paying for 10 meg, and by the time you do analysis from PRTG, you can tell that 10 meg is no longer enough for the organization. Maybe now you need 20 meg or you need 30, and so on and so forth. So from there, you can plan for growth. And I'm talking of legitimate use, because you are going to find out what are the people really using this bandwidth for. Do they really need to draw the kind of traffic they are drawing? If it is you observe that they are needed, then you give them what they did. You upgrade the bandwidth for them. Right now in our university, we are going for 1 gig, 1 Gbps. And we used to be on we have two or three legs. I think it's two legs. One on MTN, one on Glo. 1.5 is it 555? Okay, no, sorry, 155 Mbps. That is STM1. Now we are moving to 1 gig. You can imagine the difference between that. 1 gig on different legs. So PR2G, with PR2G, you can be able to do your analysis to know if you need more bandwidth on your network. Now, they said SNMP is an application layer protocol that provides a message format for communication between managers and agents. So, who are the managers? Who are the agents? SNMP system consists of three elements. Number one, we have SNMP manager. Then we have SNMP agents, which is managed node. And you have what is called management information base. These are the components or the elements of our SNMP. Now, what is the manager? Like me, on sitting down on that system, my system is SNMP manager, where we have the PRTG installed. And the agents are the routers, the switches on the network, or even computers. You can also use it to manage other computers on the network. You can see the status of people's hard drive. Maybe the hard drive is getting filled up. There are so many things can be done with SNMP. I mean, with SNMP. Management information base. That is the database where the agent is bringing out all those details to give out to the manager. So SNMP defines how management information is exchanged between networks, network management application, and management agents. The SNMP manager pulls the agent. Meaning what? By the time we are done setting up this thing now, let's put a switch in between. They said, let's say this is the manager. It pulls, meaning it requests for information from the agents, SNMP agent. Give me what you have there. I need to know about what are you going through there. Tell me about yourself. The manager pulls the agent and query their MIB, that is management information base, for SNMP agent. Those are the things that are in the database, because there are different things representing different elements, or let me say components. Like if he wants to get information about the CPU, a different thing will represent the CPU. If you want to get information about, sorry, this my pen is messing up this day. The setting is becoming, it's not helping me. Sorry. Okay. So different how do I put it now? Different things in the database represent different components on the device. If I want to get information about the CPU, there's a different thing that will represent the CPU and give information about the CPU. Same thing with RAM, same thing with the interfaces, and so on and so forth. But whatever I'm getting is displayed onto me in forms of graphs. So I don't have to crack my brain to be able to read what is being displayed, because this is represented to me in forms of graph. Okay, so they said the SNMP manager pulls the agent and query the MIB for SNMP agent on UDP port 161. Of course, we know about all these port numbers. The SNMP agent sends an SNMP trap to the SNMP manager on UDP port 162. This is what I have for you. That is referred to as trap. Wow. Okay. Okay, good. So we can see an example in this place right now. The SNMP manager is part of a network management system, NMS. We can see what we got in this place. This is just a summary of this particular place now. This is the manager. So what makes this guy my SNMP manager? Because a software like PRTG is installed on it. And PRTG is not the only one. There are others. PRTG is not the only one. There are others. So what is going to happen here? This SNMP manager can set a get message, or it can set a set message. What is the difference between the two? This one is just to get information from any of these devices. It can be a switch, it can be a firewall, it can be a router. It sends a get message. It sends a get message. What about the set? This can be used to configure the router or the switches. That is why during the process of configuration, we don't allow SNMP to do this, because if SNMP server is hacked, then your router, switches, and all the devices on your network are exposed. We only set SNMP to get information from these devices, these SNMP agents. And what will the SNMP agents send? They will in turn send a trap. Trap is like, this is what we got for you. And it will be displayed to you here in forms of, what do you call it, graph. So look at it. These are still the operation of SNMP. They can send, oh no. Look at this here. Oh. You know, the pen, I was feeling like it's misbehaving. So we reset some things on the pen. Now the way it's operating now is even crazy. It's too sensitive. So SNMP agents that resides on management devices collect and store information about the device and operation locally in the management information base. The SNMP server then uses the SNMP agents to access the information within the management information database. That should be database now. Now there are two primary SNMP managed requests. We can have get, we can have set, and I've explained the difference between the two. So get is just to get the details about that particular device. Tell me what you got. Tell me what's going on about to you. Tell me what you have in that environment. And then set, you can use set to also to configure the device, just the same way we configure the router, change host name, change password, and all of those things. But it's advisable for you not to configure your router to accept this particular one. That is read writes. There's only, we can configure the router for read only, meaning just give information only, and we can configure the router for write, read and write. So do not configure the router or the switches on your network for read and write, meaning they can only, the SNMP manager can only get read information from that side. So this is how they do their work. You can see the person sitting down here. We're still saying the same thing. I want to check the MIB variables to find out if G0/0/0 is up. So from the database of this router, some things that are representing this will be given to this particular person here. That is to this particular computer. And the software will show it in forms of graph for you. It will not only graph anyway, there are some information that are attached depending on what you are looking at. So many things are there. The information is the interface is up. If the interface is up, there's a way to represent that port. If the interface is down, there's a way to represent that port, and so on and so forth. So this will just give you visibility to know what is going on your device. And it's not as if you are going to be pressing this or that to get those details. No, once you get the software installed, everything will go on automatically. Yours is just to know where to click to get a particular information. If you are looking for information about an interface, where do you go to? About CPU usage, where do you go to? About RAM usage, where do you go to? And so on and so forth. So these are some of the summary of the SNMP operation. So get is to just read about information about the device. Set will configure, it will change the values and then be able to configure that device to do just like the regular configuration we normally do when we go to the router to configure. So I've talked about this, still the same thing going front and back. I will send a get message, then I will get a trap, SNMP trap, and what happened? Whatever you send to me, it will be represented. Maybe the interface is down, it can be represented as red. If the interface is up, it can be represented as maybe blue or green, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the things you need to know about SNMP. I think the last part of this is to know that there are different versions of SNMP. We have version 1, we have version 2C, we have version 3, and version 3 is more what do you call it, more secure than version 1 and version 2C. So if a system or a router rather or a switch supports the version 2, 3, it's better you go for version 3 than for you to go for version 1 or version 2C. So this is what I was saying earlier. It is better for you to configure read only. Do not activate read write when you are configuring your router to talk to your SNMP server. Activate read only, don't activate read write. And these are called community strings. Community string. The string there is more or less like the password to read. And if you also put password to write, that means that particular server, SNMP server, can be used to configure your router. And this is just a summary of what we want to discuss on SNMP. Any question, please? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. And another
No,
reason why it is good to explore this in a real world scenario. Let me give you a story. I think one of the service provider giving us internet was trying to shortchange us. Then they called the tech guy to come and have the discussion with the management. By the time they were having the discussion, the guy was arguing. He didn't know that one of our staffs had already gone through the PRTG server and printed out all the data, all the traffic pushed in to our router for a particular period of time. So he just displayed this thing on the PowerPoint and was showing the guy. So they look at the speed you gave us. So they look at the speed you gave. By the time he finished with the guy could not argue with him again. He said there must be a mistake somewhere because that one cannot. There's no you can't. That one does not lie. So it helps you. It gives you visibility, especially when it comes to the traffic going in and out of your network. If you know how to make use of it, so you can get videos on PRTG to explore how to configure PRTG and how it works on the network. All right, so if you don't have any question, I will just move to the next slide. Any question, please? So another thing we need on our network is called syslog. Syslog. So what is syslog? What is syslog? Look at it here. Trying to use this. Syslog uses UDP port 514 to send an event notification message across IP networks to event message collector as shown in the figure. So where is the figure here? I'm going to explain it my own way. So let's just read the theoretical part. So the syslog login services provide three primary functions as follows. The ability to gather login information for monitoring and troubleshooting, the ability to select the type of login information that is captured, and the ability to specify the destination of captured syslog messages. What is all of this is? Now, it's not only SNMP that will help us to do our job very well. We can also activate syslog. Now, if you notice, if you realize that when you are configuring your router, you will see that If you shut down an interface, a message will come out. If you activate an interface, a message will come out. Fine, let me show you guys now. Let me show you. Let me share my packet tracer. Can you see my packet tracer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let
Yes,
me
sir.
We can see, sir.
just connect a cable to this thing. So now, watch. I'll go to interface G0/0. Uh-oh. Do I have G0 there? Let me check the interface. Okay, that's /0/0, okay? Now, I'm not going to put any IP address. Just watch what will happen now. If I just say no shutdown, this information that came up here is a log, and it's local on the router. When we say it's a log, it simply means it's telling me something happened to this interface. If I try to log out now, let's say I try to log out. You see, it's telling me what? This is another log. Configure from console by console. So you want to have visibility to these logs on your router or your switches. So instead of you to come and sit down on the router, because right we can say show log. Is it show log or log? I think it's show log. Let me see. Okay, show login. Huh? Okay, show login. So if I come to this show login here, with time, all the logs that are on my router, if I activate it, I think there's a way to activate. Let me see. Login, local something. Login. You can log to so many things. You can log to the what do you call it? To the buffer in the router. You can log to the console. You can log to so many things. But the one I just want to say now is I want to activate that is if I say login buffer, all those logs you are seeing, it will be recorded on my router. But I don't want it that way because I'm not going to be seated on the router 247. I can configure this router to send all the logs of whatever is happening on the router to a particular computer. And that computer is a syslog server. It simply means if somebody enter my router and configure something, maybe the person shut down an interface or just log in, I will receive a log message to say somebody just logged into this router. I won't see this information from SNMP, but I can see this information from my syslog server. So it is advisable you also add syslog to the set of tools that you're going to be using to manage your network. So how do you do this one? This one too is very simple and straightforward. How do you set up a syslog server? How do you configure the router to talk to a syslog server? Very simple and straightforward, and I'm going to show you people. I just want to explain to you and show you an example. So all of this information coming up when you shut down, when you activate something, they are called logs, system logs, and we can offload it somewhere else on another system somewhere. That is what this syslog of 18 is all about. So if I like now, this my router and this my switch, I will configure them to always offload their log on this particular computer, which is a syslog server. And what makes this particular computer a syslog server is by just installing a software. Any software that can turn this a syslog server. I think the most popular back then is TFDP or something like that, 32. You can Google this. TFDP 32. Let me check it out. So TF is it DP or Okay, TFTPD32. 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 If I download this software right now and install on my laptop and set it up, there's some few settings to be done on it. It has turned my laptop to a syslog server. So if I just configure my routers and my switches, all the devices on my network, and point them to this particular syslog, whatever is happening on all those devices as far as log is concerned, somebody shut, an interface goes down, an interface comes up, somebody log in, somebody log out, all of those details, I will be seeing them on my router. So I don't have to be in the server room. I can be anywhere on my network. I will get all those information. That is what syslog is all about. And this also can help us for troubleshooting. We can use it for monitoring. We can use it for troubleshooting, and so on and so forth. That is what syslog is all about. Okay. You see, we can log in to the buffer, that is the RAM inside the router. We can log into the console. We can log into the terminal line, that is to a telnet. When you telnet into a system, it should show log there. When you enter to the console, it should show log. And when we can log into a syslog server when we point that particular or those devices to a particular server somewhere. That means we are logging to a syslog server. I think this is popular because you have a remote computer where you are getting the logs of all it is going on the devices on your network. So this is to complement what you are getting from SNMP. So it does not displace SNMP, and SNMP will not display this. It's to complement. It's like, okay, you can do this, I can do this. I can do this, you can do this. Then they complement themselves, and this will help you to also manage your devices. Excuse me. So this will help us to manage to further help us to manage our network. So it will help us to manage the network better. So you also need to make sure you activate this on your network. Any question on this one, please? So
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
yes, sir, doctor, go ahead.
Please, I want to find out, can you back up the iOS image on this syslog server?
You are going to back up iOS image on what is called a TFTP server. We're going to come to that too.
Okay.
Yes, we are going to come to that. It's one of the things we must talk about this evening.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so these are the messages you can get. If you notice, you see that packet tracer, the message we got through packet tracer is showing a number. Let me just show you again. Let me scroll up. This number here is indicating something. This number here, the same number. So different numbers comes up depending on what is going on, and that is called the severity level. So you can see the different numbers in this place right now. So if for any reason I should get 3, I know that there is fire on the mountain. 4 is warning. 5, notification. And you will always be in between all of these 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. If you should get message of 2, you know that it's critical. These are called severity level. This is just to tell you the level of the problem I'm seeing. You need to be aware of. If you should get 0, the head don't come out from the neck, and so on and so forth. So you need to be aware of this. And these are all the protocols that our syslog can report, things they can report about. Let me move to the next slide, please. So my syslog can report about, this pen can report about anything that has to do with IP, OSPF, the operating system, security issue, the interface issue. These are the things that my syslog can report to me about. So you need to be aware of all of these things. Look at an example here. What happened here? The interface probably went down before they brought it up again. Up, then down. So you check the severity number and you have an idea of what is good. That doesn't mean you should cram all of this thing, but I think 3 and 5 are just popular. So if I go back, you are going to see what I'm talking about. You see the hub, you see you see the 3, you see 4, you see 5. So you can see 3 means what? Error. 4 means what? Warning. 5 means what? Notification. So these are just the ones you need to be aware of. Look at it here. They shut down. We got information that something was shut down. Exit. And then they are telling us something here. I didn't talk about this. Let me just talk about it. Your logs are not time-stamped, meaning the times are not attached to the logs. You can activate timestamp by saying service timestamp log date time. It means it will now begin to hard time when the thing happens, and this makes sense to me. Don't just tell me an interface is down. When did it go down? Give me the timing. And this also is very important for us when we are activating syslog. Any question on that also? Any question? Okay. If we don't have question, then I will just move fast because I have a place I want to get to. I want to be able to finish everything here. So the next thing is talk about the router and switch file maintainers. This is where we're going to talk about where you can back up the operating system of a router and also the configuration files of the router. All these are very important. So, but before then, you need to understand the file system of your router. It's not compulsory, at least you have an idea of the file system. So, the Cisco IS file systems allow the administration to navigate to different directory and list the files in a directory. The administrator can also create subdirectory in flash memory on a disk. The directory available depends on the device. So we can see an example here. So they were in a router here and they say show file system. Look at what we got. So the asterisk indicate the current default file system. Where is the asterisk? This is where we are right now. The pound sign indicate a bootable disk. Where is the pound sign? I can't see any pound sign here. I'm looking for it. Both of these are assigned to the file system by default. Where is the pound sign? Let me move to the next line and see. Put on this. Yeah, it's not here. No, they are referring to this particular pound sign. Okay, let me move on. Maybe I'll get to understand what they are saying here. So now we also can check the directory of the files on the files on the router, just like you check the directory on a regular Windows operating system when you are on Windows and so on and so forth. So if you want to see the directory, you can just type DRR. You see different directories that we have on the router. I'm not concerned about all of this. I'm just trying to go through this like the way it is. But where we are concerned about, we are going to get there. You can also change directory from one place to another place. Like right now, we can change from this is CD means change directory. We can change to NVRAM and see what is in our NVRAM. All the files that are the folders that are in our NVRAM. And then, of course, you use PWD, that is present working directory in Linux, to see where you are. And this is showing us that we are in NVRAM. And if you do DRR again, that is directory, to see the directory, it's telling you that it's showing the directory of NVRAM. So you should be able to navigate in between directories on your router. But where you do really need to, what do you really need to do on the router? I'm going to show you. And the same thing also apply to your switch. Well, the switch right now, if you say show file system, it shows you all the file and tell you where we are currently. Okay, and you can also check the direction of a switch, but this is where we are going to. We want to back up the configuration of our, what do you call it, configuration file of our. We want to learn how to back up the configuration file of our router or switches, and we also want to learn how to back up the operating system of the routers. Now, I have issue with this particular slide because I cannot demonstrate this with Packet Tracer. So, but I'm going to draw some things, explain to you guys. Then I downloaded the software and launch the software and show you some of these options that we have in this place. But first and foremost, let me go to my Packet Tracer and explain some things to you guys there. Let's launch Packet Tracer. Okay. So let me go to my router here. I am in the router. Can you people see my Packet Tracer? Hello?
Yes, I can see, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, we can see the packet tracer.
Okay, so now I am in my router. Normally, when you want to back up, when you want to save your configuration, you always do copy run. Then what do you do next? Startup config. What does this mean? It means you are backing up from the RAM, that is the configuration file. You are putting it in NVRAM. That is why if you shut down the router now and you restart the router later, that router will still be working. That router will still be working. Why? Because it's going to load the operating system. It's going to load the configuration file from NVRAM. But what if the router crashes completely? The router does scatter. Or somebody happened to delete the operating system, both in the NVRAM and in the RAM, everything. You need to have a backup somewhere. And this is one of the ways you can have a backup. So if I say copy running config, instead of putting it in the NVRAM, that means I will put the NVRAM on there. But I can also put it in another location where I can have it externally. And that is called a TFTP server. So what is a TFTP server? A TFTP server is just a computer that has this same software that I spoke about earlier, TFTDP32. It can activate your system to be a syslog server and can also make your system to be a TFTP server. So if I have that on my network, I will just say copy running config TFTP, then I will put the IP address. This one is not showing me now. Okay, I understand. So now look at it. Copy running config, copy what is in the RAM and put it in the TFTP server. Now, see the first thing it's asking me for address or name of the remote. So what is the address of my TFTP server? That machine that is, where's my phone? Can you people hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, because it just showed me
Yes,
that
sir.
it showed me that the network is poor, something like that. So I will give the IP address of my TFTP server. Don't forget what makes that device a TFTP server or that particular computer because of the software that I have on it. And I will have set it up or configure it. When I install the software, I will configure the software and tell the machine you are now a TFTP server. So I will now put the IP address of my TFTP server. Let's say it's 200.200.200.1. I'm just putting any IP address. I will hit enter. Then it will ask me, what do you want to call this file when it gets to destination? I can tell you to say router config or whatever. If I want to pick this, I can just hit enter. It will give this name to my TFTP server. Now, it will try to find my TFTP server and drop the file there and name the file router config. Now, I don't have one on my network here. I don't have a TFTP server. I'm just explaining it to you guys. As long as let me say, supposing I have this on my network, you will see that it will copy. It will show that it's copied the configuration file, and then it will keep it in the TFTP server. So if they now call, you see what it's telling me. Error. I cannot reach the TFTP server because I don't have it. Now there is a lab on that. I will share the lab to you guys from the labs that I gave you people so that you can practice this. I don't know how they set it up on Packet Tracer. I would have done my own that way too. I tried doing it today, but I didn't get that. Okay. So if tomorrow now they now call you and say the router don't scatter or somebody deleted everything on the router and left the place, so you say there's no problem. What do? You plug that your machine on the network. You can bring that configuration back. How do you bring the configuration back? You say copy TFTP. That is the TFTP list. Let me see. I don't know if the way it is here. No. Copy. I don't. This is not supporting what I'm looking for. So copy TFTP. TFTP. Okay. I got it. Now, I am trying to copy from a TFTP server to where? Into my RAM. Copy TFTP. Running configuration. I am saying copy what is in this TFTP server into this RAM. Now, watch what the router will do for me now. It's asking me for the address of the TFTP server. It's asking me for the name of the file on TFTP server. So let's say it's router config. So what's the name I want you to carry when it gets to destination here, where in this RAM here? Because it's going to have a name in the directory. I can say maybe running config. If I want to accept running config, I'll just hit enter. So what will the router do? It will locate the TFTP server, look for that file on my computer, copy that file, that is the configuration file, and come and put it in my router. With that, I have restored my router back to the way it was before. I copy the file out of the router as a backup because somebody has messed up with configuration of my router. I have it externally, and then I'm bringing it back. So now, because we don't have this TFTP server on the network, it will tell you error opening TFTP server. So what did we do? The first one is copy running config TFTP. Copy from RAM to a TFTP server. But when we are bringing it back, the reverse is the case. This is the first way for you to back up the configuration file of your router or your switch to a TFTP server or vice versa. Any question on that one?
Yeah. Hello, sir. So what that means is that
Hello, sir.
Yes, doctor, you have the floor. One at a time, please.
so what I want to find out. So that means anytime we set up a network, it's always important we back up the iOS, whether on
Now, what we are backing up
so
right now is not yet the iOS. This is the configuration file. We are going to
no,
let you back up.
sorry, I mean the configuration file. Maybe we have
Yes.
finished configuring the network. Everything is now in the, of course, through the iOS.
Yeah.
So when you are done with the whole thing and you have set up the network, you are saying it's advisable to back up that configuration file.
Non-negotiable.
Okay, I get it now. Thank you.
Non-negotiable for
Okay.
you as the
Hello, sir.
administrator. Yes, I'm coming. Let me
Okay.
finish with him. Sorry. Because I've
Okay.
heard about the situation whereby, what do you call it? They fire somebody and the guy got angry and deleted everything on the router and left.
But we'll have that case. We'll have a case now. One woman that was made the director of one particular agency. So the person handed over to her, that is the person that's supposed to hand over to her, gave her a file, but she's suspicious
Yeah.
of all the, but she's the network administrator. So they were now asking, is it better to delete the whole thing and start the whole configuration afresh because they don't know what the gentleman did with the network. So I would like, do you have a copy of this, network map and all the configuration? I don't know what they were saying. So, but from what you're saying now, it's always advisable to keep that document as a very important.
Yes, it's very, very important. Even you as the oga at the top, you should ask whoever is under you. I need the backup of these things, configuration file, the operating system, everything. If tomorrow you fire the guy, whoever you hire will know how to reinstall. Don't say I have a backup here. But when you leave everything to the engineer, you don't know anything about it. When you fire the person, you will just delete your operating system.
Honestly, it's a terrible experience they're having now. Okay, thank you very much.
You're
It's clear.
welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Yes, somebody wanted to ask a question. Please go ahead.
My own question, sir,
I wanted
is that
Can you
who should
please
go first, sir?
maybe you should let's follow, raise up your hand so that I can give you the floor, so we don't have multiple people.
Let me allow the other person to do that.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
All right.
okay, thank you, sir. My question is that apart from storing it on the FTP server, can we copy it in other places?
You can copy it on the FTP server. Which other place are you taking about? You can also keep in the router on the
Like a flash putting on your Google Drive and the
yeah,
rest.
yeah. You see, that is what I want to show you now. When we're done with the one on the router, you can even back up the configuration file onto a flash drive. But we're going to use a software to do that, not from the router like this. Even when it is back up on your laptop, it is going to back up in text formats. As if you copy something and put on a notepad. That is the way it will look. So you can also back up on your flash drive. So whichever way, just make sure you have the backup. Are we together, please?
Can I go ahead, sir?
Please go ahead, sir.
My question is this. Let's assume in Dual Network we have 5, 6 switches, 3, 4 routers. You have to keep for each of them as well. There is a particular one that is like the backbone for every one of them that you can just, that one alone can take care of every other one. Like, I don't know. Is my question clear, sir?
No, sir.
Let's assume in your own infrastructure, in the
Yes.
whole infrastructure of your network,
Yeah.
you have 3, 4 routers,
Yes.
for example. But do you have to keep for each of those network devices, or there is a particular solution
Okay.
that you can log in each of those configurations into a particular, to one of the, making a router a server for all of them. They can just use that one to host all those configurations, and then you can copy from that one and keep it for every one of them.
If you have more than one router on your network for whatever reason, that means they are doing different things and they are going to have different configurations. So you have to back them up differently. I don't know if it's clear. If they are all
It's clear, it's clear.
they are all on the network, operating on the network simultaneously, you are probably using them for different things. So you must have their configuration separately, backup separately.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Any other question, please? Okay. So if you people don't have question, let me go to another thing here. What if we want to back up the operating system? What we backed up before is just the configuration file. What if we want to back up the operating system of our router? So same way, we're going to say copy flash. Why are we saying copy flash? Because that is where our operating system is located.
I want to be more.
That is the location for our operating system. So we'll say copy flash TFTP. Can you please mute yourself? Doctor,
Sorry, please.
copy flash TFTP. What are we trying to say? Whatever is in the content of this flash, you know the operating system resides in the flash. Copy flash TFTP. This time around, we are copying the operating system. We are backing up the operating system from the flash of the router to our TFTP server. So if I hit enter now, it will ask me for the source file name, and that one is going to be crazy. Let me do something. Oh, let me get the name of the operating system. Show version. See the name of the OS here. So copy flash TFTP with this thing paste. Okay. Now it's asking me for the name of the remote host. That is my TFTP server now. It's telling me that this will be the name of the what do you call it, the operating system when it gets to location. I'm okay with it. I'll hit enter. Then it will now begin to copy your operating system to that particular computer. So now I am backing up my operating system, but I don't have a TFTP server here. When it's done, I have a backup of my operating system. So if anything should happen to my router tomorrow, I can reinstall my operating system. But most of the time, the reason why we use this particular approach is when we want to upgrade the operating system of the router. So if tomorrow now I don't have operating system on my router, I can go back and say copy TFTP flash. I am trying to copy operating system from this flash. From this TFTP server to the flash. So if I hit enter, it will ask me for the name of the operating system. I can give the name of the operating system that I'm going to copy. Then it will ask me for, sorry, I made a mistake. That should be the file name first. The source, no, I messed it up. Copy flash. Should be copy TFTP flash now. Okay, this one. Then the address of the server. Then the OS. The source file name. Then it will tell me that this will be the name of the destination file name. When it gets to the router, I'll say okay. Then I will hit enter. Do you want to overwrite to confirm? Overwrite what? The existing one. I will hit enter. Then I'm going to explain something to you people right here, right now. So it's not going to find anything because we don't have a TFTP server on our network here locally. But this is what I want to tell you people. This particular configuration can be used to upgrade a router. Why did I say can be used to upgrade a router? Because the moment your router crashes like this, you cannot access this environment. It won't bring you to router user mode or privilege mode. You cannot. It will only take you to an environment called ROM monitor. Let me write it for you. ROM. This is the environment your router will bring you to if there's no operating system on it. So now, how will you now reinstall operating system using this particular environment? That is another thing. I think I'm going to give you guys as an assignment. I don't have it this PowerPoint here, and I forgot to look up the steps, the command. I don't think it's here. So take note. You can use that one to upgrade. But if the operating system has crashed completely on your router, it will bring you to ROM monitor mode. And that means there is no operating system there. Sometimes the operating system did not crash. The flash, that is the card that is on your router, probably shifted. Where the operating system resides, you may just have to push in the card small and then restart the router, and that will solve your problem. You need to be aware of that. Any question?
No question.
Any question? Okay.
No question, sir.
All right. So if you people don't have questions, so let's move on. So right now you learn how to back up your.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Regarding upgrading or updating the iOS,
Yeah.
does the router does it automatically or you have to do it manually?
What do you mean automatically? You have to put all those commands now.
Okay, that has to be manually, I think.
That's the manual. You are the one doing it. Okay, I think I know what you are thinking about. Like Windows updates, ba?
Yes, yes.
No. Not now. Maybe in the future.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So there's another way we can back up the operating system of, I say the operating system, the configuration file of our router or our switch. We can use a software called Terraterm. Look at the software here. So when we launch the Terraterm, we go to file menu, we click log, then we choose the location where we want to save the file. Then Terraterm will begin to capture. Now, before you do all of this, you must first of all enter into your device, that is the router or the switch, and say show running config. No. That's after the capture has started. Okay, let me just show you the software. I downloaded the software and put it on my laptop just for you to see. But right now I'm not connected to any router or switch, and this is so we can't finish this part. Let me share the software. Come in. Can you imagine this is not allowing me to select the option I want to. Oh my goodness. And I tried using this thing yesterday, was it's incorporated. Okay, let me see this.
Maybe you should stop sharing this one first and share that one.
The launch software is not even, the launching is not completed. Okay,
Okay.
people should be patient with me. Let me download another one that I think I know that should work for us. Well, Hyperterminal should work. Okay, I have that one now. Let me just install it. So just a minute, let me install Hyperterminal. Hyperterminal will do the same thing. So we have Terraterm, we have Hyperterminal. They do the same thing. As far as capturing. So with this one, we can point to our flash drive or external drive or whatever, any storage device where you want to save your configuration. And then I will show you how you can also bring back. So all you need to do is just to plug that device and then say, okay, I am reinstalling back this configuration file to my router, and so on and so forth. So let me launch it. Okay. Hey, they say I must buy you. And I've used this one before now. Oh goodness. Oh, oh, okay. Oh, that means I will behave like doctor. Thank God you are in the house. You know what lecturers do? They always give assignments.
Approved. Approved.
Okay, the other one is responding now. So let me shoot. The other one is responding now. So let me use this other one. Where is it now? So can you people see this black environment? Can you see what I'm sharing?
No, sir.
Not yet.
No. No.
What about now?
Oh, okay. It's coming out.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
It's just black environment.
Yeah, black environment now. So now you can see the options here. I have
Yes.
file. I can have a new connection. So if I click new connection, this is what I want to show you guys now. Now let's assume I'm connecting to my router through console. I will click. You can see the option. We have Telnet, we have SSH, we have others. If I select others, it will allow me to click my serial. It's not allowing me again now, but I've already clicked serial before. So that is just, you need to understand it. So we can use TerraTime to connect to our router or switch. We can use Hyperterminal. We can use PuTTY. These are softwares that we install on our system. But since I've already clicked serial, I can go to file and click log. Log to where? If I have external drive here, I can point to that location. I can say, okay, log and put on maybe on my desktop, and then it will put the name of the log, TerraTime.log, and say save. By the time I do that, if I'm on the live router, I will now issue show run. Show run. Let me go back to my PowerPoint so you see what we have, the options we have here. So once I say once I click that, when I select the location and say save logs, I will click show. I will issue show run on my computer, or my router rather, or my switch, or I can use show startup config, show running config to see the configuration file. And you remember, you cannot see the configuration file at a go. You have to be pressing spacebar, 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 spacebar. By the time you get to the end of the configuration file, you go back to that software and you see the option for close. If I go back here now, I can look for the option. That's the close option. We started capturing by clicking log. We click file. We went to log. You can see now the option has changed to view log. But right now I am done. What do you call it? I am done copying all those logs. By the time I have finished clicking my spacebar, 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 after that I will see close option here. Right now I can't see close option here. By the time you click the close and then close the software, it must have saved this thing into your flash drive or desktop or wherever you want to save it. That is another way to back up your configuration file. But if you want to bring back, since we don't have any router, the reverse will be the case. And I'm going to show you that one through the PowerPoint again. But before I go there, you can also back up your, your operating system using this same software, apart from what we did earlier. Let's go to that one here. So this one is for, this one is for the configuration file. We start the journey with log. We select the location, the file name, the full path, and all of that. Okay, sorry, when we are done, this is where we are going to see the close option. I think our terminal displays is different. Then it will have been saved on our drive or whatever we want to use to save this particular configuration file. Now, what if we now want to restore back the test file? You remember when we were doing on the router, we said copy running config tftp. But by the time we are bringing back, we say copy tftp running config. So to bring the test file back, we go to the file menu and then click send file. Then it will take us to where we can locate the file, and then we select the file and click open. And what will happen? The Telegram will paste the file onto the device. It's like you are copying something and pasting it on the device manually. So it will come and paste it on your router. And that is how you can reinstall back. So you can use this to back up your configuration file. What about the one for image? We're also going to go to the one for image. And let me see if this is understood and if we have question on this. So different ways, but my preference is the TFTP.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, that doesn't mean if you have up to 5 routers in your network, you have to back up each of them separately.
Yes, because they have different configuration files. They are doing different things on your network.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
And name them. So I've talked about this earlier. Now they are talking about how you can use TFTP to back up and restore your configuration. You can see copy running config TFTP. It has for the destination, and then it begins to copy the file. By the time it's done, it will show you this sign. I am done backing up the configuration file. I explained this one earlier. Let me be sure I didn't jump any. Okay, I've jumped. Okay, I've explained this earlier. So what if you have USB on your port? Because nowadays you see router that have a space for USB. You can plug your flash drive. That's the reason why you need to know about this particular command, this dir directory command, to be able to point to. So you can also plug your USB directly on the router if it has it, and you say copy running config USB flash 0. Where will you get this flash 0? From that show file system, from the directory, you are going to see that your flash that is plugged, this is the directory that the flash pick. It's like you have your drive C, drive D, and so on and so forth on the particular computer. So you can also back up your configuration file into a flash drive if you have it. If your router supports it, we can see the directory, and after finish the copy, there are USB flash 0. You can see all the configuration file in this, the files in this particular flash drive. And if you want to bring it back, how do we bring it back? You see copy USB flash 0 : that is our R1 config. You can use that and restore back to your router. So if your router has a USB port, you plug your flash drive, you can back up the configuration file there, and that will also get the job done. I think the last part I will have to explain first before going to the slides. Somebody sent me a message. When was that? I think last week. That okay, that's not the last part too. The ROS image, I've talked on that also. He was working on the router, and then he forgot his password. How can he enter the router? So that is what I want to explain. So what if you are working on a router, you forget the password? I'm sure if it is packet tracer, you people will delete it and go and carry another one. But what if it's a live router? What will you do?
Just buy another new one.
Another one.
They should buy another one. If you are working, that is the reason why they will fire you. You know how much it takes to buy a new router or a switch, and you go and tell your guy that I forgot the password. Will you tell them you forgot the password or the router and switch don't pack completely? No, we can do password recovery on our device. So the first step is to go to run monitor mode. How do you to go to that run monitor mode? Now, for you to go to run monitor mode, you use a key. This is stressing me. You use a key on a combination of keys rather on your computer or your keyboard when the router is booting. Once you see the hash, that pound sign, like this, like this, like this, like this, you press this key, control break. That's a control plus break key on your computer. When you press control plus break on your computer, it takes you to this environment. And so what do you do from there? You change the configuration register. What is configuration register? I never mentioned that in the class. Let me show you guys. What is configuration register? If I say show version of this router now, if you come down to the here, you see something here. Configuration register is OX2102. There are 4 configuration register, or 3 rather, configuration register for the router. One is OX2100, one is OX2102, one is OX2142. What is the difference between the 3? This one that you have here, configuration register 2102, is simply telling your router boot normally. How? Go and look for the operating system in the flash, load the operating system, and then go and load the configuration file, and that is the sequence. But if I change this configuration file, configuration register now to something else, I can't remember the command. You'll see conf-reg. Let me see. Ah, let me see the code. Okay, config register. So what? Conf-reg just config register. No. Okay, let me try this. OX2100. Okay, here goes, takes it now. So if I change the configuration, see the command there, config register OX2100. If I reboot this router will not boot to the normal environment it's supposed to boot to. It will boot to run monitor mode. So if you happen to meet a router that refuses to boot normally, check the configuration register. Maybe somebody has tampered with it. What if I change this configuration register to 2142 and hit enter? What I'm simply telling this router is load the operating system, but when you are loading, do not load the configuration file in NVRAM with password. Load the configuration file, but do not load it with password. So with that, I can now put a new password and save to override what is in NVRAM because I forgot my password. So configuration register is very important. It just tells the router what to do, sequence of booting. It tells the router how to go about the booting. So let's continue with the slide. So,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But I say,
Yeah.
assuming you say we forget the password, that means to be able to access the privilege mode, we used to put password now. What if you forget that one? Because this configuration register you are putting is
When
at
you
the
change,
configuration mode.
listen to me. When you enter this environment here, this raw monitor mode, you will see the command to change the configuration register. I mean, yeah. By the time you change the configuration register, it will not load any password for you, whether users mode or privilege mode.
All right, I have a question. So assuming now someone else gets access to our router, that means they can use this one to bypass any password.
That is why we are telling you that you don't just configure devices and secure them and open your server and leave your server room open and say, come and try me. Because if the people that know what they are doing, if they can have access to your server room, physical access, contact to your devices are gone. They will lock you out. Exactly. So
it's not a matter of only securing it. You have to secure the device.
Yeah, you have to secure the devices logically with passwords and all of that, and you also have physical security.
All right, sir.
So change the configuration register, then copy startup config to the running config, change the password, save the running config as a new startup config, then reload the device. See the steps, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see the commands. So when we get to this environment, this is called run monitor mode. How do you get here? When your router is booting, you press Ctrl break on your keyboard and you get to this environment. You abort the boot process. So when you are here, what do? See the command to change the configuration register here. Confreg. Confreg is different from config because of where I am right now. Where I am right now, confreg is what will work for me. So I can only change the configuration register with this command. So when I say confreg OX2142, what am I saying? I am telling the router to load, but don't load the password. Then I want to restart the router. And the command to restart the router in this environment is reset, not reload. The other environment is reload. In run monitor mode is reset. So what do we do next? When we restart the router, it will now take you to this environment. Router, as in, it will boot completely. Then you can come to users mode. Then you now say copy startup config, running config. So what are you trying to do? You want to copy what is in the NVRAM to the RAM. Because before, we are loaded without anything in the RAM now. So we are saying copy what is in NVRAM to the RAM. So look at caution here. Caution. Do not enter copy running config, startup config. You should go the other way around. We are copying what is in the NVRAM into RAM. So what happens after that? Yeah, I don't know why this thing is slow now. So by the time you do that, you have copied what is in the NVRAM into RAM. You now configure a new password. Because right now, your backup configuration, which is the NVRAM, is now in your RAM. You now configure a new password. You now configure a new password and save the new password. But before you save, let's see what happened. What you need to do. Sorry, just bear with me. Okay, so you say enable secret Cisco. Don't forget we are in the RAM now, and we have copied our configuration file from NVRAM into RAM. So what do we do after that? We now need to change the configuration settings back to the normal thing, the way it's supposed to be, to OX2102. I don't know why this is slow when I move. So you see now, we change the password, we change the configuration setting back to the normal thing, and we will now say copy RAM, copy running config. We are copying what is in the RAM to where now? NVRAM. Why are we doing that? Because we now have a new password that we know. So we are copying everything back into the NVRAM. I think even the PowerPoint is getting tired of my class. Okay, so copy what is in the RAM into NVRAM. Right now we have the new password in the RAM. We have changed the configuration setting back to the normal, and we are now saying copy into NVRAM. And with that, we can restart our router. We now have the new password, and that is how you do password recovery on your device. Any question on that, please? Is it clear to us? Can we move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can move on. So the last part I've discussed that already. So I'm just going to move sharp. That is the iOS management we can see. So how do we back up our iOS? We can use the TFTP the server to back up the images. So when you hear about images is just referring to the operating system of your router. It is good for you to back up the images. So what do you do first? Make sure that the TFTP server is reachable. That is why they are telling you to ping the TFTP server first. Verify the size image in Flash. What is the size of the thing you want to copy? So you make sure that when you are copying into, there is enough space that you cannot copy the image to the TFTP server. And I show you the command to copy. You say copy. This is to bring it back now. I think there's a mistake here. Copy TFTP flash. We are bringing something from the flash to TFTP. TFTP. Okay, so the first backup is from flash to TFTP. The return should be TFTP to flash. So I think I've explained this my own way. Okay, this is another thing I didn't talk about. Sometimes you have more than one operating system on your router, and you don't want it to. You want to tell the router which one to use to be booting from. So you use boot system command to tell the router this is the one I want you to be booting, use it to boot. And you can change another time, you can change to another operating system. So if there's enough space on your router, you can tell the router to boot from a particular operating system. You can have 2, you can have 3 different operating systems. It doesn't really matter. So that is how you go about the backup. So that's the end of this particular slides or slides that we need to cover for today. We need to talk about how to back up our devices. Any question? The OS, the images, the images, or the operating system or the configuration file. Any question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Please go
I have
ahead.
a question, but it's not directly related to this particular
Yeah,
slide.
you can ask. You are free to ask, please.
Okay, most of these commands that we are using, are they specifically for Cisco routers and switches, or they can be applied on other routers?
No, only Cisco devices.
Okay, so other routers and switches have their own particular
They
command.
have their own, yes. Once you know what you are trying to do, you are good to go.
All right.
Welcome, sir. Any other question? Any question? Okay.
I
Yeah.
need last class. I don't know whether we mentioned we discuss anything about the exam. I don't know. I missed the
Yes,
last
the exam
class.
is going to be from Monday and Tuesday. I will give 2 days for you guys to write. By now, you people should have finished our assessment and course feedback. So the exam will be taking place on Monday. So I'll give Monday and Tuesday for the exam.
Do you mean next week Monday, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's too close. So
Okay.
Oga, so quick.
It's too close, sir.
When do you want us
It's
to
too
write
close.
it? I've been telling you people we are
F1,
finishing this Saturday.
This 273 is kind of bulky and small theory, sir.
When do you want us to do it?
Maybe next weekend.
Next weekend is too far.
Yes.
You know why? You know why? Some people will still come and meet me that weekend. They were not able to do it, and it will enter in another week. That is why I don't want that weekend. I have been seeing the pattern since we started. You are supposed to write exam, let's say on Monday now. Some people will not write 1 week later, 2 weeks later. So if we're announcing next weekend now, they will ask me for an extra 1 week, and I need to close this class and give the Cisco report. I'm done with the class because I'm not the only one doing training. We are 3 that are doing CCNA all over in Africa. The others are finishing next week. If I'm done teaching and it's only test and assessment or final exam that will be the challenge, and I know the ways this thing can be sometimes. So I don't want people to drag me on for forever because I'm going to close the class once we agree on the time. If we say weekend, does that mean everybody will write weekend? After that, I won't hear story again. So we need to agree.
Yes, sir.
We need to
Yes,
agree
sir.
on that because I know
Now,
the way
just
this